Hey everyone, Jana here at the 4-H office. Today's fun activity is hot glue watercolor painting. And what we're going to do is create a really neat three-dimensional painting, and hot glue actually acts to catch some of the sunlight and makes your painting kind of glow. So, give you a couple of examples. I made a peacock, and I also made a hummingbird and a flower, both with watercolors and hot glue. So to get started, what you're going to need is some watercolor paper. If you don't have that for painting, if you have something that's textured, that'll catch the watercolor and won't let the water absorb through to the back side and rip, that would be great. So you're going to need some of that. You're going to need a palette of watercolor paints with brush. Also a yogurt cup, water bottle, some sort of glass with some water so we can wash our brushes. Paper towels, a pencil, a pair of scissors if you're going to trace a picture, or you can draw a picture. I actually thought maybe if you guys had some pictures of like flowers or your favorite animals, something like that, you could actually put those onto your paper as well. Today I am actually going to make a peacock. What I've done is printed off a nice clip art peacock, and I've drawn it on my paper. Now, when you draw, the lighter the lines, the better, because we are going to trace some of the hot glue gun. So mine are kind of dark so that you guys can see them today, but if you want to do them a little bit lighter, because they do tend to show through the hot glue. If you do have dark lines, what I would suggest is tracing the lines with the hot glue gun around the outside of the lines, and then you can watercolor over them so they're not as noticeable. You will need a hot glue gun. If you're a little person or you don't feel comfortable using a hot glue gun, you might need some teen or parental help with that today, but we are using a hot glue gun and a lot of hot glue sticks. This does take quite a few hot glue sticks to complete, especially depending on the size of your picture. Now my little picture didn't take as much as my bigger picture, but totally up to you what you guys want to do. So once your picture is on, you're just simply going to take your hot glue gun. And this is where you need a lot of control, because like if you have detail that's close together, you don't want to push very hard on the hot glue gun and get a lot of glue out. You want to just do thin streams. Remember, we want all of our hot glue connected so that when we do paint with the watercolors, they don't run outside of our lines. So you just simply, whichever hand you're comfortable with, just start tracing your lines. Remember, it doesn't have to be one continuous line. You can stop, take a break, take a look at it, and then start up right where you left off, connecting the lines. You will get those little spiderweb thingies off the hot glue gun. Don't worry, we'll pull those off at the end when everything's dry before we start painting, because if you leave those on and paint, they resist the paint and you won't have any paint where those little spiderweb thingies are. Feel free to turn your picture any direction you need to get her done. And I'm just going very gently, very slow, trying to keep the bead of glue pretty even and consistent. Remembering that if I do turn my picture, to keep my hot glue in my hand up above my picture so I don't smear what I've already put on. I'm just going to do a little bit more to show you. Alright, so as you can see, I've actually taken my peacock, I've put a little bit of hot glue right up by the head part of it. Let me see if I can get some better light here. You can kind of see it becoming three-dimensional. I'm going to finish this up and then we'll do the next step of painting. Alrighty, I don't know who decided on that picture, but that was a lot of lines to trace with the hot glue gun, but as you can see, I have it done. What I'm going to do now is actually go through, pull my little spider web pieces of glue off, if it's dry, which it should be. Just kind of clean that up a little bit. If you've never done this before, pick something simple, fewer lines spaced out, probably not as much intricate detail, until you get the hang of how much pressure you need to apply to the hot glue gun so you get nice even lines and your spaces don't get filled in. Inevitably, it will happen. You'll get a goober somewhere. The nice thing about the hot glue is if you're quick, it'll peel right off before it dries. So I'm just trying to get these little last goober lines off, my little spider webs. Peel them right off. All right. Once they're peeled off, it's time to get painting. Now, what you want to watercolor paint, totally up to you. If you've never watercolor painted before, what you're going to do is just open up your paints. The lid has some little mixing containers if you wanted to mix a little bit, put a little drop of water into it. I usually paint right off the paints, which sometimes I get colors mixed. If you want darker colors, less water. If you want lighter colors, like to blend from dark to light, just add more water, dilute it. We're diluting with this paint to get our colors. So what you're going to do is just start. You can start with your lightest colors, work into your darkest. We do have all of our lines all covered, so we shouldn't have any colors going anywhere where we don't want them to be. And then we're just going to paint. So to get started, simply going to bring my paintbrush, water, and my paper towels. That's really important. And then just kind of choose what colors I want for my peacock today. I'm going to start up here at the upper body. I am left-handed, so I'm going to paint away from myself and be able to turn the paper. And we're just going to paint right inside of our hot glue. Remember, if you want it darker, less water. If you want it lighter, more water to dilute your paints. So that's what you're going to do. You're just going to paint inside of your lines, paint your entire picture into a work of art. So as you can see, the hot glue actually holds the watercolor in. It's not going anywhere else. So even if you don't have watercolor paint, the hot glue will keep the watercolor paint from going where it shouldn't. So I'm just going to give this a once over with all my paints, and I'll show you the final project. Okay, when you're finished, just leave your painting to sit flat for a little bit so it dries. Unless you've used a ton of water, your watercolor should dry fairly quickly. But when you're finished, what you'll have is a work of art. And as you can see, the hot glue gives your painting a three-dimensional look to it. It also catches the light and gives it a little bit of sparkle. And remember, every good artist signs their artwork with their name and the date that they completed it. So consider saving this project for County Fair next year, or to make some really neat Christmas gifts, holiday gifts, birthday gifts, whatever you'd like to do. If you enjoyed this project, check out Shenango County 4-H on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, both under Shenango County 4-H. Have a great day.